So today we're going to discuss what it takes to become a successful plant parent. Basically, you don't need a green thumb. I've heard that said over and over again. You need some basic information. First of all, change your attitude, be patient with yourself. It's all an experiment. Just take on that attitude and it'll be fun getting to know what to do to get your plants to live. They need some basic things: water, light, fertilizer, and love. So let's get right into it. Any comments? Please leave them below. Thank you. Next category I want to discuss is lighting. This is what I do. I get morning light in the front of my house. So when I'm home, I open that door so that my plants can get even more light. This one over there on the table typically gets a little bit of light, but she's happy there in that corner. She's been doing good. And that big kitty right there on the couch usually waits for me to do that so she can sun a little bit right there. Not that it's on her right now. But anyway, lighting's very important for your plants. I have some people I know that they stick their plant in a corner and want to know why it's not growing or looking good. Even plants that are so-called low light, or, they say medium to low light, they still need light. And these, they get a little bit of that morning sun, like right now, but it doesn't harm them. And I have the curtain here just in case it's strong. This one I moved closer there, so it's doing better. I think it likes that spot. Neon pothos, growing very nicely. And here's some other plants. These are all so-called low light plants, but don't believe that they need to be in a dark corner. You can give them some light. And these ZZ plants here, they can take a little bit of direct sun too, morning sun. Here you see I try to get inventive and I put these plants closer to the window behind my TV just so they can get a little bit more light, and they are all growing. I'll give you a different perspective. This one here is getting little shades. It's the micans, philodendron micans. Starting to get a little bit of that red. I love it. Eventually I'm going to put her in a hanger, but just haven't gotten around to it yet. And then up here you got your marble queens. It's starting to get more white in the leaves now. Now this lighting changes drastically in the growing season. I have a tree out here. Let me come over here and show you. There's a dogwood tree. It's not huge, but it causes some shade out here. And this tree up here in front of the house is getting bigger, and it's starting to really change my lighting out front, which when I start gardening, we can talk more about that. Over the years, it's changed how I plant, when I put annuals in the front yard. So anyway, it affects the lighting I get here in the living room as well. So just a quick look. And now, if you can't provide natural light for your plants, then I suggest artificial lights. Let me take you into the kitchen. In here, these little shelving units, I got these lights on Amazon. Let's see if I can come in here and show you. And I put them up right there. I just added 2 newer ones down here. They come a pair in a box, and I can attach the link to these. Not expensive. You get 2 for about 20 bucks, something like that. But what a difference it made for these plants. Really made a big difference. And as you can see, I put plants wherever I can so they can get a bit more light. That philodendron down there doesn't need too much direct light, but I'm trying to move it a little closer to see what happens. Its leaves are kind of small, the new ones. So this plant here originally was on my dining room table. Well, she had teeny tiny leaves, and I just moved her over here one day. Just being closer to these lights, I'm starting to get larger leaves. She's growing like crazy, and it's not even growing season. This is a green princess philodendron. See how beautiful and gorgeous. But if you could see inside here, see those teeny tiny leaves? That's what I was getting when it was sitting, right on my table here behind me. But now she seems happier. The leaves are getting bigger. So lighting makes a big difference. In my birthday plants. And I didn't point out these beautiful orchids I got. Look how pretty there's two of them. This one, two stalks, looking really pretty. Or two stems. And these Hoyas all seem to be pretty happy with the lighting here, especially the bilobata there. She gets that little sun stress in over here. And she's another plant that responded really well to changing her location. She was closer to the window, but I wasn't really getting much growth. When I got these, I put it over here, and all of a sudden I started noticing that she was growing like crazy. And this one is the one that flowers for me. So she seems to be happy. Now I also added these lights. These are kind of cool. They have a little button. You can't see it right now. There's two of them right there over that fiddle leaf. They have a little button where you can put it on a timer. So when they turn on, you press the little button for, I think it's 6, 10, or 12 hours. I usually go for the 12. Okay. Now, when I first moved here, the sun sets, this is west, I believe. So the sun sets out there, but these trees out here, let me go on this side, you can see better. These trees have grown like crazy. It's like a wooded area behind there, like a hill and a creek down below. So when I first moved here, this kitchen dining room area used to be flooded with sunlight in the afternoon. However, when these leaves are on these trees out here, I'm getting shaded light now. I kind of miss it because this was the area I could put all these highlight plants and they would be happy. But it's just changed everything with my gardening in the back. But it's kind of nice because now I can enjoy that afternoon sun without feeling like I'm baking alive. I get some direct sun for a couple of hours, but once it starts going down, then it's like shaded. Kind of pretty though. Here you see I hung up a bunch of plants on macrame by the window just to give them more light. Some fit on the windowsill. And then over here in this corner, I'm slacking today. I forgot to turn this one on. So usually in the morning when I get up, which is pretty early on my work days, I turn that on. And I also have another light here. And I just hate the hum. But all these plants seem to be happy over here. It's taken over my desk. I'll be cleaning this up a little bit. So I can start working on my laptop right here. Do some editing. But yeah, lighting is very important. So for you new plant parents, don't underestimate the need for light. And what you can do sometimes, I don't have that lamp on right now, but I ordered some grow lights or grow bulbs from Amazon. And you can do that. You can put that in your lamps and sit your plants nearby, and they'll get some light that way. Now, the next category, water. This is really important. In my house, you'll see jugs of water sitting around, bottles. And if you go to a recent short made by Lisa from Natural Roots, her channel's on YouTube, she had a bunch of different decorative, cute little bottles. And I thought I was the only one doing this. I got this Don Julio tequila bottle from my brother. And he was like, "Why do you want this bottle?" I said, "Just if you don't need it, I'll take it." And this is an old wine bottle. So it's kind of better looking to have these things around. You can kind of style them with your, not that this is very stylish over here, but it's a little bit more decorative to have bottles like that. I have another one. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. I have two of these. And what I love about this is that it has the little lid, so I can lock this. If I want to add fertilizer to it, well, can't do it with one hand, but you kind of get the idea. There we go. You can lock it and shake it. So these, I have two of them. I think family member gave me like flowers in this. It's really pretty. So I've kept it and I use it for watering. I like that the spouts, they're a little easier to pour from. Sometimes the big jugs, if you pour directly into the pot, you get more water than you actually want at a time. So I have these throughout the house, and I still fill up the jugs because, running up and down the steps when you realize something needs watering, it's a nuisance. So I try to keep them on both levels where I have my plants. Before I got this filter, I would fill these jugs and bottles up and let the water sit for about 24 to 48 hours because of the chemicals that are harmful to the plants. But then I decided for myself and the plants to get this, attach it to the faucet, and this way I can use the water sooner. I don't have to wait. I really like it, and just purifies my water as well. So that's not a bad investment. To make my watering easier, I ordered one of these from Amazon, I believe. And I had seen Jeff on Everything Plants. He had used one of these, and it just made life easier with watering his plants on plank and otherwise on moss poles or whatever. It's kind of nice because you use the sprayer, and it's not as messy as trying to do it with a water bottle or a watering can. So I find this makes life easier too. Let's see, right here, see this struggling Adansonia. I just figured I'd stick this in there and see if it likes growing up the pole. It was struggling for a while, and I think it's starting to get better, come back for me. But I just spray. I like these kind of moss poles because, the backing is closed. I spray and it just kind of wets the sphagnum inside the pole. And then I spray a little bit in the base of the plant, the bottom of in the planter itself. But it makes life easier. And when it's time to spray these guys, I like using this too. I could use the wand and not have to get up on a step stool and risk falling because I'm not the most graceful. So these are some tips that I could think of with the watering. But watering is important, and the important thing to remember is not to overwater. Learn what your plant needs. Go easy, go slow. It's better to underwater than over because it's hard for the plant to come back. But just stay on top of your plants. check them frequently. I'm not one of those people who does this once a week. I go through kind of, on a regular basis, looking at my plants, seeing who's looking like they're struggling or wilting and needs water. Try not to let it go too far, but when you notice it, just take care of it. And if you have these things handy, then you'll do it. Another thing, don't use really cold water on your plants because the roots don't like it. Room temperature is probably best. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, I don't want to forget to discuss humidity. It should fall under the water category. Humidity is basically allowing the plants to have that, the droplets in the air around them, surrounding them. Now, if you group your plants together, that creates a natural humidity. But as you can see here, I got this cute little humidifier. It's really sweet. Someone gave it to me. I love it. I don't run it all day because, I like to be here and cut it off when it's empty. The humidifiers, you want to clean them out once a week with vinegar. Let some vinegar sit in there for, I don't know, half hour, as long as you can, and then clean them out so that scale doesn't build up. Here's another humidifier I've had for a while. This one you could set the level that you want it to be at. I wouldn't go over 55%. Right now it's at 48, and it'll cut off and turn back on when it needs to. But it helps these plants, to have a little bit of humidity. It's so dry this winter, with the heat going and all that. So I have that going, and you could control the mist, how strong you want it. If you want to lighten up, you can. It's on the lowest setting right now, and that's pretty good. This one, if you have it in a bedroom, it has a sleep feature, and this one you can also heat it up. But I do the cool mist humidifier. I don't do the heated one. And you can put it on a timer and all. This one's a little funny sometimes. It'll give me error messages, and I don't know. It's just a little ornery. I have another one over here. Let's see, right here. This one I've had for a long time. This one will cut itself off when it's empty. But no timer or anything. It's just more basic. It runs, like it says there, for about 48 hours runtime, as you see on there. This one does pretty good. Between these two down here in my dining kitchen area, I feel like it makes a big difference. I could tell my breathing is much better with the humidifiers going. So it's good for you, it's good for the plants. Also, those bottles that I leave around with the water in them, that's also providing some humidity. If you want, I don't usually do it, but you can put like a saucer of pebbles underneath your plant and sit it on top with a little water, but you don't want the water to be absorbed by the roots unnecessarily, so just a little water on top, sit the plant on top, or just even little bottles or whatever, fill it up with a little bit of water. And what I do sometimes is I mix my little gnat concoction into that bottle and add that to the water. I got a cute one over here. Let me find it. That one right there. It's cute, so you don't have to see the dead gnats. But sometimes it'll just have plain water. But if it's attracting gnats, then I'll put a little bit of the apple cider vinegar and dishwashing liquid concoction in there. But these calathea plants, marantas, calatheas, they like to have a little bit more humidity. And as you can see, see the dryness there. This one is not doing the greatest. I think it needs more lighting or something, but it's doing better here in the kitchen where it's more humid naturally. And that's usually where I keep my Marantas or Calatheas. I try not to do too many of them because I don't have the patience for these needy plants. They're beautiful, but I go with the ones that are easier to take care of. So this humidifier here needs to be filled up. This one I saw on a video that Jeff made from Everything Plants. It's really cool. I should have turned this on and filled it up for you. But this one comes, it's a smart humidifier. So there's an app, and that app will communicate to you when your humidifier is out of water, and it'll just cut off when it's, you know, out of water. Let me see, I don't know if it'll turn on for me at all right now. It'll display the humidity there. Again, you could set this to what you want. Here you can set the mist, how much you want. Here it's telling me that I don't have any water in there. At night, you can cut off the display. If you're like me, you don't like that any kind of light shining at night while you're trying to sleep. And you know, I can operate this thing from my phone. So I really kind of like that. So if I don't want to get up and walk over here and cut the display off at night, I can do it through my app if my phone is nearby. This thing is pretty cool, Lavoit. It was recommended by Jeff. And if you go look up one of his videos about, I don't know, one of his plant care videos where he went into detail, I believe on his channel, you'll be able to get a discount. As I said before, I'm not sponsoring any of these things, so, or they're not sponsored ads here. So, but I think you can get like a 15% off discount if you use his code. So you can go check that out. Here's a key point I forgot to point out about this one that I like the most. It's easy to fill up. It's a top fill. So I can just bring this downstairs, fill it up, and take it back upstairs and put it on the base unit here. There was something else I wanted to point out. Let me turn this off so you can hear me. I use filtered water. Also, you want to use either filtered water or distilled water. Now, I don't know about you guys, but lately I haven't been able to find distilled water on the shelves where I shop. So, don't know what that's about. Maybe people are just buying them out because it's that time of year, kids being sick every time you turn around, and you know. So I do use distilled water. I don't use the distilled water or the filtered water. This thing works where when it's up, it's not filtered. When it's down, it's filtered. So that's what I do. I like this one because of the fact that I can do the top fill. It's just a lot easier. The other ones, you got to bring them over, flip them over, and do all this other unnecessary work. So just to make life easier, get yourself a top fill humidifier if you use one. So finally, the last category, loving your plant. All these things, watering, providing light, all of that care that you give your plant is important to the plant, and it's a way of showing them you love them by taking care of them. You're bringing a living thing into your home that's relying on you for care and maintenance. So some of the things that you may come across is fertilizer. None of these things on this table are sponsored. These are just things I've used. And as I've said before, everything I share with you are my experiences, things I've used that have worked for me. So, you know, I'm not posting this for any other reason but that, just to help you. So here you got slow release fertilizer. You can use this indoors and outdoors, and that just slowly releases fertilizer in a safe way to your plants. So, like when I'm potting things up, I like to put some of this in there. Um, Maybe every so often, maybe twice a year, I might add it to some pots that need a little bit more. Another thing I like to use that I don't have here right now is worm castings. I really swear by that. And I put that in my soil, mix it into the soil mixes I have. And sometimes just a top coat, on top of your soil every so often. It's a nice organic way to feed your plants. This orchid spray here, I love for the Hoyas and the orchids. I'm new to orchids, so I'm no expert there. I'm learning, you know. And I'm not an expert with any of this, don't get me wrong. But this is what I've used and what's working for me. This, I spray the leaves. Foliar spray is probably the safest kind of fertilizer to apply to your plants so that you don't burn the roots. You spray it to the leaves. I would say do it at night so that the leaves have time to dry, because if you put the plant in the sun or a strong light and this stuff is on the leaves, I think it can burn the leaves. I've done that once, made the mistake of fertilizing outside and the sun hit the plant, and boy, didn't look pretty. And here, this is a natural fertilizer too. Basically, fish poop. I like this stuff and I use it. It stinks though. I'm not going to lie, but I mix it with the water. I only use about a capful to that gallon jug that you saw I showed you before. They always say go light with fertilizer. You don't want to overdo it, you know. Putting a teeny bit. Some people, every time they water their plants, they put a little bit of fertilizer, but I wouldn't do that unless it's growing season. And it depends on the plant. Some plants don't really need that much. Now, this stuff I tend to use outside. You take I think it's a gallon size watering can, pour one of these packets in there. And let me tell you, my plants love it out there. And I have a lot of container plants usually outside. And that's where I'll use this. And a friend of mine at work, I tend to grab it for her, or she grabs it for me if we can't find them. Back during the pandemic, it was hard to come by, so we just pick them up when we see them at the big box stores, and let the other know. She likes them too. She does a lot of container gardening in her back, so that's one that I'd recommend. Here, one of the most annoying things about having plants is dealing with insects, right? So, what I like to do is use maybe a drop of this in some water. I'll also add alcohol, a little bit of alcohol to a spray bottle, and then spray them down, spray the leaves and everything. Actually, the soap, the dishwashing liquid, it leaves your plants nice and shiny. Don't overuse it. You just need a drop or two to a bottle of, I don't know, any spray bottle you happen to have, and just a little bit of alcohol as well. I think that kind of helps with spider mites and stuff, to kill them off. But you can kind of protect the leaves in the plant that way. Those annoying gnats, what I tend to do, and I'm about to do, is put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in here, and then maybe a teaspoon of the dishwashing liquid. And I leave these around the house. Now, my family thought I was crazy. And my brother came over once and he was like, "What are you doing?" Because you see the dead gnats in there. But that's what it attracts them. They go in there and they can't fly out. Now, somebody finds that cruel. I'm sorry, but I don't like gnats flying around while I'm eating my dinner. Okay, so I do that for those annoying. I mean, look at this. I haven't done it lately. And look at this plant, this sticky thing. Look how many of them are on that little sticky. I use those on occasion. Just stick them in a pot. In this way, it can help eliminate some of those guys. Because from what I understand, one fruit fly or gnat can make up to 300, lay up to 300 let eggs, just one. So can you imagine? They multiply like crazy. Now, they don't really harm your plants, but they're annoying. And I don't like them. So that's what I'm about to do here. Now, this stuff here, you're probably familiar with. Insecticidal soap. I like that because I can spray it and rub it right on the leaves. This I like to sprinkle into the top of the pot. And when you water, you don't want to flood the plant with water. You want to kind of slowly water so it can get to the roots and work from there on all kinds of insects. So this stuff in Maryland, I'm not sure why, some kind of law or something. Sometimes I can't order this, and it says it blocks me from ordering it because of where I live, and I'm not sure what that's about. So, like I say, use at your own risk. don't you don't have to do what I do. I'm just telling you what I do, and I'm not sure if there's any harm. It's supposed to be all organic stuff, cyanide. So I'm not sure, but wear gloves when you use any of this stuff. Just use common sense. Neem oil. Everybody knows about neem oil. And the other day I was watching, what's her channel called? Plants and Tings, I think. It's a cute channel. I love it. And she was talking about getting the actual neem oil, ordering it, and mixing it up with some soap and I'm not sure what else. But if you go to her website or her channel, you can see what her concoction is. But she swears by it. She says that it's helped her with spider mites and all kinds of insects. And she has a beautiful collection. And so check her out. Yeah, so neem oil, this one you can use direct. You can order neem oil, the concentrated bottle, and mix it, but I'm kind of lazy. Maybe I will try that next. But for now, this is what I use. And this has a strong smell too, but it goes away or you get used to it. I don't know. But the fish poop, that stinks. But again, it stinks for a little bit and then it's gone. It doesn't linger. So as I make my concoction for these gnats, I'm going to have a cup of tea. And this is from Everything Plants merchandise. Cute cup, cute mug. So I'm gonna have me a little throat coat. As you can hear, got a little scratchy throat. And I hope that all these things help you new plant parents. Don't be intimidated. Take it one plant at a time. Learn what your plant needs, get used to it. And when you see growth and all, just remember it's all an experiment, all of this stuff. But you'll end up loving it, let me tell you. Take care. So that's it. You mix those two together and just leave it around your plants where you see those annoying gnats. And eventually they start to dive in there and they can't swim out. Sounds cruel, but I'm sorry. I don't like gnats. Not in my house. You can be outside. All right. So that's it.